Hello, Moltrap here, and welcome to probably the least exciting prospect for a game of this round of the MSL. This is between Xellos, who we see here at the top, he's in teal, and Canata, who is in orange, it looks like, on the right side here. I did have to cut out the first couple minutes just to make sure that it was just a little over the time limit for YouTube, and cut it down so I keep it under there, upload less videos. Anyways, you can see that since it is only 2 minutes in, Xellos going for a very, very quick expansion. He went for that command center straight in. He did not get his barracks first. So, Xellos here hoping to gain an economic advantage, and Canata, I don't think he's gotten an expansion that quickly. I think he's going for his barracks out by his door. So, luckily we do see a little bit of a divergence of strategy. Sometimes these games can be a little bit boring if you see, you can see sometimes both players going exactly the same build. Canata, interestingly, already getting his factory up, so this is going to be basically a game of who kind of decides to do what first. If Canata decides to push in early, he'll be able to use this advantage of tech and forces to push on Xellos. Interestingly, Xellos did not scout to see if it was safe for him to do that, sending out his scout now. Canata is coming in here and has a marine on the way into Xellos' base. It looks like Xellos is going to be able to chase that out with a few SCVs. So nothing major going on right now. We're going to have to see if Canata can make any use of his vultures when he gets them in a minute. By the way, just a little bit about the players. Xellos, of course, is a rather famous player. I have to admit, and Xellos doing exactly what he needs to, by the way, putting up that bunker there. He knows that he's a little bit behind and he needs extra defense to hold off so he can protect that expansion. So good move on his part at this point. It looks like he's managed to even up the marine forces, and he's going to get that bunker down in just a minute. So Canata, realizing that he's not going to be able to push in this advantage, building an expansion of his own, trying to even up the economic. Anyways, Xellos is very famous. He hasn't really done anything since, he hasn't qualified in anything major. As far as taking any tournaments since 2005, so it's been a while since we've seen anything from him, and I have to admit I don't know a whole lot about Xellos myself. I started watching Pro StarCraft in about mid-late 06, so I never really saw him in his prime, but I did watch some videos of him in his old days, and he used to have just some absolute ridiculous micro back in his heyday. So I mean, he's called the perfect Terran, and I believe I can see why just from watching some of his old micro skills. But like I said, he hasn't been doing very much lately. A lot of people think this is the season of the comeback. We have a few people. Jelizerg was slumping, and he seems to be back in action. Uvi, the cheater Terran who just absolutely used to blow the hell out of people out of the water, has been slumping a little bit, and well, I don't know if you call it a slump, but he hasn't been playing up to his peak, and he as well recently has been doing a lot better. Savior, who people thought were slumping as well, seems to have been coming back relatively recently. If you leave out what you saw in the World Cyber Games, Savior definitely looks like he's coming back into things. So a lot of people are thinking, well, Xellos managed to get into the MSL this time, beat his group, and make it out here. So some people are thinking maybe he's coming back as well. Canata, relatively new player. By the way, just kind of sending in a scout there. I wonder if Xellos has seen Canata's build, because it looked like Canata was getting a starport there. He has gotten a starport. Looks like he's going for either a drop or raids. Probably a drop of some kind. It's hard to tell. But interestingly, Xellos getting those armories down. Looks like he might be going for upgrades, actually, because he got 2 of them. I thought he was going to go for Goliaths against the dropships. So it may just be an upgrade thing. He's going for the long haul. He realizes that both players have gone for that economy, for the extra expansion, and he wants to go for the long haul by getting those upgrades out early. Could prove fatal if he spends too much money on this tech and the upgrades early on, and Canata pushes in, or it could prove to be the deciding factor for his win eventually. In any case, as I was saying, Canata has been doing very well recently. A little bit sketchy. He is going for dropships, by the way. You can see he's not researching any cloak right now, so he must be going for dropships. Xellos, interestingly, moving in a little bit, trying to plant up a little bit of a containment out there, putting some tanks out kind of close to Kanata's base. Although he saw that dropship coming in. I'm not sure why he's not putting maybe he's putting that pressure on to keep Canata from dropping, because it doesn't look like he has anything in the back of his base. Xellos, that is, has anything in the back of his base to prevent that drop. Interestingly. In any case, Canata has been playing a little bit sketchy, kind of on and off, so we could expect him to play brilliantly here. We could expect him to utterly fail. And he does have a couple Goliaths there, but they're misplaced. They're not guarding like the back of his base where they should be. And Canata is able to get Goliaths, get 4 Goliaths of his own in there. And he realizes that he's going to be, he doesn't have enough there quite. I think he probably could have done a little bit more damage before pulling out, though. Maybe he didn't want to lose that dropship. So he pulls back and doesn't really accomplish anything in that little attack, pulling his Goliaths back out. Maybe he realizes that with Xellos kind of right at his door, he needs all the forces he can get right now. It's going to come down to and he is a little bit militarily behind. He's just getting his 3rd tank out now. And that's probably the other reason why I was thinking he might get the dropships put there. This map, you have an expansion which is right next to your main. It's relatively easy to hold. There's like a bridge that you can go across, and so you can hold that bridge. That's where Xellos originally put that bunker at the beginning of the game. And Xellos trying to do a little bit drop of his own, and he's going to get chased away as well, and he almost loses, well, not almost, but he was a couple shots away from losing that dropship. So both players kind of playing it safe here, trying to do some drops, but not really committing anything too much at this point. Canata, however, has 3 dropships now. He could be going for a major drop on Xellos' base here in a minute. As I was saying, there are some island secondaries and expansions, and that's why he was dropping that SCV off to make a base in that little expansion, because other than that natural expansion, it's kind of hard to defend the other expansion, which is sort of obliquely. You can see here actually Xellos getting that expansion. It's near your main, but it's not really in front of your main. It does have ramps, so it's relatively easy to hold, but it's a little bit out there. So those island expansions, well, of course, if the enemy doesn't have dropships, they're going to be easier to defend. But the enemy does have dropships in this case. Dropships are usually a very big deal in Terran versus Terran. Xellos going in for his 3 dropship drop, though, and excuse me, Canata trying to do some damage with his SCVs there, running him in between, dropping on top of his forces. It doesn't look like he was able to drop too close, though. It looks like Canata is going to take this. Oh my god, all of Xellos' forces just got slaughtered in the back of Kanata's base, and Canata has all of his forces and I'm not sure if he lost a dropship there, but he does have all of his forces left, so that was a major loss for Xellos. His tanks were sieged, and it looked like Kanata's forces were too close to those siege tanks for his siege tanks to hit them, and so almost losing his dropship. I don't know why Xellos didn't pick off that dropship. He really should. It only has one hit point left. Xellos coming in for a counter drop on Canata. Canata is set up pretty well outside of his base, though, and Xellos smartly running out his SCVs to try and distract fire. That's what he needs to do because he had less tanks there. And it looks like Xellos is going to barely be able to hold this off. Maybe not, actually. He's down to 1 tank left. Canata coming in with another dropship. Xellos trying to move in, push in those tanks there, sieging them a little bit closer. And and Canata coming in and doing another dropship right on top of Xellos' last tank. Oh, Xellos' last tank goes down. He's going to plant down some more troops there, but I think that Canata is going to be able to take this base because he only has that 1 tank left. And Kanata's tanks are going to be able to take out those Goliaths fairly easily and then make short work of that last tank. And here he is rolling up the hill into Kanata's next base. It looked like, in that matter, Canata had more tanks and less Goliaths, and that ended up winning the day for him because the tanks were able to kill off Xellos' Goliaths, but not vice versa as easily. And Xellos is forced to pick up that command center and run out, whereas meanwhile Canata has that base on that island.